There's a level of success that terrifies people, not because you've conquered the world, but because you've conquered yourself. And today, you'll discover why every external victory is meaningless until you win the only battle that actually matters. Have you ever noticed someone who achieved everything but still seems empty? The promotion they chased for years feels hollow. The recognition they worked for brings no peace. They won, but it doesn't feel like winning. That's because they conquered the wrong enemy. They spent their entire life fighting the world, competing, achieving, climbing, proving themselves to everyone around them, but they never fought the war inside. And that's the war that destroys you. Let me tell you about James. 10 years ago, James was hungry, driven, obsessed with success. He built a company from nothing, worked 80-hour weeks, sacrificed everything: relationships, health, peace. But he made it. Sold his company for 8 figures, got the recognition, the respect, the proof that he'd won. And you know what happened? 3 months later, he was lying awake at 3 a.m., more anxious than he'd ever been in his life. The achievement he'd chased for a decade. It lasted about 2 weeks before the emptiness returned. Because here's what nobody tells you about external success. It doesn't fix internal chaos. You can conquer markets, build empires, achieve every goal on your list. But if you haven't conquered yourself, you're still a slave to your ego's need for validation, a slave to your mind's endless wanting, a slave to your fear of not being enough. James achieved everything the world told him mattered, and he still felt like he was losing because he was fighting the wrong battle. The ancient masters understood something we've completely forgotten, something that every wisdom tradition discovered independently, that true conquest isn't out there, it's in here. The Stoics said it: he who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. The samurai lived it: the greatest victory is victory over oneself. The Sufis taught it: the greatest jihad is the struggle against the self. Different words, same truth. You don't conquer the world, you conquer yourself first. And once you do, the world stops mattering in the way it used to. Not because you give up on achievement, but because you're no longer enslaved by it. James didn't understand this yet. He just knew something was deeply wrong. He'd won every external battle, but he was losing the only war that mattered. Before we go deeper, I need you to do something. Comment below with one thing, just one, that you're chasing right now. What's the external victory you think will finally make you feel complete? This isn't just engagement, this is you recognizing the battlefield. And recognition is where transformation begins. Let's go. James had everything most people spend their entire lives chasing: financial freedom, professional respect, status, proof that he'd made it. But inside, complete war. He couldn't sleep without medication, couldn't relax without alcohol, couldn't sit still without his mind racing to the next goal, the next problem, the next thing he needed to fix. He'd wake up at 3 a.m. with his heart pounding, not because something was wrong, but because his nervous system had been running on emergency mode for so long, it forgot how to turn off. The success he'd achieved didn't bring peace. It brought a new kind of prison, because now he had to maintain it, protect it, prove he deserved it, show everyone he wasn't a fraud. His ego was a tyrant. Every conversation became a competition. Every interaction became a measurement. Is this person more successful than me? Less successful? Where do I rank? He couldn't enjoy his own achievements because he was always comparing them to someone else's. A friend bought a bigger house. James felt inadequate. A competitor raised more funding. James felt threatened. Someone praised another entrepreneur. James felt diminished. This is what most people don't understand about ego. It's not confidence. It's a parasite. It needs constant feeding, validation, recognition proof that you matter, and it's never satisfied. A psychologist at Stanford who studies high achievers found something disturbing. The people who achieve the most are often the most internally miserable. Not because achievement is bad, but because they're achieving to fill a void that achievement can never fill. They're running from themselves, and no amount of external success can outrun your internal chaos. James tried everything to fix it: therapy, meditation apps, self-help books, biohacking. Nothing worked because he was treating the symptoms, not the disease. The disease was simple. He'd spent 10 years conquering external challenges while his internal enemies grew stronger. His ego demanded more recognition, more proof, more validation. His desire was insatiable. The moment he achieved one goal, his mind generated 3 new ones. There was no finish line, no enough, just endless wanting. His fear controlled everything. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being exposed as not good enough. These 3 enemies, ego, desire, fear, they ran his entire life. He made decisions based on what would get him validation, not what was actually right. He chased goals based on what he thought he should want, not what he actually wanted. He avoided risks based on what people might think, not what was actually dangerous. He'd conquered markets, but he was still enslaved by himself. The breaking point came 6 months after selling his company. He was at a party, successful people everywhere, everyone celebrating their achievements. And James realized he felt nothing. No joy, no satisfaction, no peace, just emptiness. He excused himself, went to his car, and sat there in silence. For the first time in a decade, he asked himself the question he'd been avoiding. What am I actually fighting for? All the achievements, all the recognition, all the proof that he'd made it, none of it had conquered the war inside. His ego still needed validation. His desire still generated endless wanting. His fear still controlled his decisions. He'd won the world, but he'd lost himself. That's when he asked the question that changed everything. How do I conquer myself? The answer wasn't in modern psychology. It was in a 2,000-year-old practice that every ancient master had discovered. Macedonia, 340 BC. A young Alexander sits across from his tutor. Aristotle Alexander is destined to conquer the known world, to build an empire that stretches from Greece to India, to become the Great. But Aristotle tells him something that will haunt him for the rest of his life. There is only one worthy conquest. To conquer yourself is greater than to conquer cities. Alexander nods, but he doesn't truly hear it. 20 years later, he's conquered Persia, Egypt, half of Asia. He's achieved what no man in history had achieved. And he dies at 32, alone, paranoid, alcoholic, a slave to his own ego. He conquered the world, but he never conquered himself. The Greeks understood something we've forgotten, that every external enemy is just a reflection of an internal one. The opponent you face in battle is just your fear made visible. The rival you compete against is just your ego seeking validation. The goal you chase is just your desire, looking for satisfaction. Conquer those internal enemies, and the external battles become irrelevant. Fail to conquer them, and no external victory will ever be enough. Fast forward 1,500 years. Japan, 12th century. The samurai code, Bushido, has one principle above all others. Victory over oneself is the greatest victory. A samurai spends more time in meditation than in sword training, not because meditation makes you a better fighter, but because if you haven't mastered yourself, your sword is useless. Your fear will make you hesitate. Your ego will make you reckless. Your desire for glory will cloud your judgment. The greatest samurai weren't the ones with the best technique. They were the ones who had conquered their internal enemies first. There's a famous story of Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman in Japanese history. He fought over 60 duels, never lost once. But his final teaching wasn't about sword technique. It was this: you must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain. The warrior's path is the path of mastering oneself. He spent his final years in a cave, not conquering enemies, conquering himself. Now travel further back Persia, 13th century. The Sufi mystics had a teaching that terrified people. They called it the greater jihad. Not the external struggle, not the physical battle, but the internal war against the nafs, the ego self. They taught that fighting external enemies is easy. Fighting yourself is the only battle that actually matters. A Sufi master would say, the man who conquers nations but has not conquered his own ego is still a slave. The man who conquers his ego but owns nothing is truly free. They had practices designed to destroy the ego: voluntary poverty, anonymous service, deliberate humiliation, not because suffering is noble, but because the ego dies when you stop feeding it. 3 different traditions, 3 different continents, 3 different centuries, but they all discovered the same truth. External conquest without internal mastery is slavery. True freedom only comes when you conquer yourself first. Alexander conquered the world and died enslaved by his own demons. The samurai conquered themselves and found peace even in death. The Sufis conquered the ego and discovered freedom even in poverty. James was about to learn which path he'd actually been on, and why everything he'd achieved meant nothing until he won the war inside. The question wasn't whether he could conquer himself. The question was whether he was willing to face the enemies he'd been running from his entire life. James tried to conquer himself the same way he'd conquered business with force, strategy, discipline. He made a list: overcome ego, eliminate desire, destroy fear, and for the first time in his life, he failed immediately. Because internal enemies don't work like external ones. You can't overpower them. You can't outsmart them. You can't force them into submission. They are you. Here's what James discovered in the first week. Enemy 1. The ego. He decided to stop caring what people thought. Just stop. Lasted exactly 3 hours. Someone mentioned a competitor's success at dinner. James felt his chest tighten. His mind immediately started comparing, calculating, defending. Yeah, but they raise money at a worse valuation. Their margins aren't as good. They don't actually have product market fit. He caught himself. This was his ego, needing to be superior, even in casual conversation. He tried again the next day. A journalist interviewed him but got a fact wrong in the article, made him look slightly less successful than he actually was. James's first instinct? Call them, correct it, make sure everyone knew the truth. But he stopped. This was ego, needing validation, needing the record to show how great he was. So he did nothing, left the article as it was, and his ego went to war. People will think you're less successful than you are. Your competitors will see weakness. You're letting them disrespect you. You need to fix this. For 3 days, his mind tortured him over one incorrect fact. In one article nobody would remember. That's when James understood. The ego isn't just wanting recognition, it's your entire sense of self built on external validation. A neuroscientist at MIT studying self-concept found something terrifying. Your ego is literally wired into your survival system. When someone diminishes your status, your brain registers it as a physical threat. Your ego isn't a personality trait you can change. It's a defense mechanism you've spent your entire life building. Enemy 2. Desire. James tried practicing gratitude. Be happy with what you have. Lasted until he saw a friend's vacation photos on Instagram. Immediate thought, I should take a better vacation. Somewhere more impressive. He wasn't even unhappy before he saw the photos. But the moment he saw someone else's experience, his mind generated a new want. This is how desire works. It's not about needing things. It's about your mind's inability to be satisfied. You achieve a goal, 1 week of satisfaction, then emptiness. Then your brain generates a new goal to chase. James had everything he'd ever wanted, and he still wanted more. Better car, bigger house, more impressive achievements. Not because he needed these things, but because his brain was addicted to the chase. A psychologist studying hedonic adaptation explains, your baseline happiness doesn't change with achievement. You experience brief pleasure, then return to baseline. The only way to feel that pleasure again is to achieve something bigger. You're on a treadmill, and the treadmill keeps speeding up. James tried going 1 day without wanting anything, just existing with what was. Lasted 4 hours. His mind was relentless. You should buy that book. You should plan that trip. You should upgrade your phone. You should start that new project. Wanting wasn't occasional. It was constant. A background hum that never stopped. Enemy 3. Fear. James decided to face his fears. Post something vulnerable online. Admit he struggled. He wrote the post. His finger hovered over publish, and he couldn't do it. His mind flooded with scenarios. People will think you're weak. Competitors will see vulnerability. Your credibility will be damaged. Everyone will judge you. None of these things would actually happen. But his fear didn't care about reality. Fear operates on possibility. And there are infinite possibilities to fear. James deleted the post, then tried something smaller, went to a networking event alone. Somewhere he didn't know anyone. Fear kicked in. Before he even arrived, you'll look stupid. No one will want to talk to you. You'll be exposed as a fraud. He turned the car around, went home. This was the pattern. Every time he tried to face fear, fear won. Because fear isn't about actual danger. It's about your brain's desperate attempt to keep you safe from any possible discomfort. A researcher studying anxiety found that people with high achievement often have the highest fear responses, not despite their success, but because of it. The more you achieve, the more you have to lose, and your brain becomes hypervigilant about protecting what you've built. James sat in his apartment 2 weeks into his attempted self-conquest. He'd failed at every single practice. His ego still controlled him. His desire still drove him. His fear still paralyzed him. And for the first time, he understood why the ancient masters said this was the hardest battle. Because you can't defeat these enemies. They're part of you. You can only learn to conquer them, to rule them instead of being ruled by them. But how? That's when he found the ancient system, the one the masters actually used. Not to destroy the ego, desire, and fear, but to starve them, to remove their power by stopping the one thing that kept them alive, feeding them. James found the practice in an ancient Stoic text. It wasn't about fighting the enemies, it was about starving them. Your ego feeds on recognition. Your desire feeds on acquisition. Your fear feeds on avoidance. Stop feeding them and they lose power. Here's the system. Conquest 1. Conquer the ego through anonymity. The Stoics had a practice called negative visualization, but they had another one most people don't know about: deliberate anonymity. Do valuable things, get zero credit. James started simple. A colleague was struggling with a project. James solved the problem, sent the solution anonymously. His ego screamed, "Tell them it was you. They need to know. You deserve the credit." He stayed silent. It was torture. His entire identity was built on recognition, on people knowing what he'd accomplished. Now he was accomplishing things and deliberately hiding it. Week 1. Helped 3 people anonymously. His ego was in agony every single time. Week 2. Donated a significant amount of money. No name attached, no announcement, no recognition. His mind kept generating reasons why he should tell people. It'll inspire others. People should know you're generous, your reputation will benefit. All ego, all wanting credit. He told no one. The Sufis called this khidma, service with no thought of reward. The Buddhists call it dana, generosity without attachment. But the principle is the same. When you do valuable things and get zero recognition, you starve the ego. By week 4, something shifted. James did something significant, solved a major problem for a startup founder he'd never met. And for the first time, he felt no compulsion to tell anyone. The satisfaction came from the act itself, not from the recognition. His ego was losing its grip. Conquest 2. Conquer desire through voluntary simplicity. But killing the ego wasn't enough. Desire was still running the show. James had everything, and he still wanted more. So he tried something radical. 1 day per week, he practiced wanting nothing. No purchases, no planning, no chasing. Just existing with what was. The first Wednesday, he lasted until 10 a.m. Saw an ad for a new productivity tool. Immediately wanted it. This will optimize my workflow. He caught himself. This was desire, creating a problem so it could sell him a solution. He didn't buy it. His mind spent the next 3 hours trying to convince him he needed it. By week 2, he extended the practice. 1 day with no consumption, no buying, no acquiring, no adding. His mind went wild. You should order that book. You need new workout gear. Your laptop is getting old. None of these things were true. But desire doesn't care about truth. It only cares about pursuit. The Buddhist monks have a practice called aparigraha, non-possessiveness, not poverty, but the practice of being satisfied. They own almost nothing, not because ownership is wrong, but because desire is a hunger that grows with feeding. The more you have, the more you want. James tested this, went 1 full week without buying anything except necessities. Day 3, his mind created emergencies. You need new running shoes, yours are worn out. Were they? He checked. They were fine. Day 5. You should upgrade your phone. The new one has better features. Did he need better features? No. His current phone worked perfectly. Day 7. He realized something profound. 90% of his desires weren't real needs. They were his brain creating wanting to avoid feeling satisfied, because satisfaction feels like death to the desire mechanism. If you're satisfied, there's nothing to chase. And your brain has been conditioned to believe that chasing equals meaning. By week 6, James could sit with desire without acting on it. Watch his mind generate wants without believing them. The desire was still there, but it no longer controlled him. Conquest 3. Conquer fear. Through voluntary exposure, but the final enemy was the hardest fear. James had been avoiding discomfort his entire life, building walls, creating safety, controlling variables, and fear had grown in the darkness. So he started facing it, deliberately, systematically. Small things first. Posted something slightly vulnerable online. Not brutally honest, just real. His fear went into overdrive. Delete it. People will judge you. You'll lose respect. He left it up. 3 people responded positively. 20 people didn't respond at all. 0 people judged him. His fear had lied, as usual. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, but they had another practice too, voluntary discomfort. Do the thing you're afraid of, in small doses, repeatedly. James started speaking up in situations where he'd normally stay quiet, saying no when he wanted to please people, having difficult conversations he'd been avoiding. Each time, his fear screamed. Each time, nothing bad happened. Week 4, he did something that terrified him, admitted a failure publicly, a project that had crashed, a decision that was wrong, posted it, hit send. His fear was convinced this would destroy his reputation. Instead, 10 people reached out, shared their own failures, thanked him for being honest. A researcher studying vulnerability found that the things we fear will make us look weak actually make us look more human. And humans connect with humans, not with perfect images. By week 8, James had a realization. Fear doesn't protect you from danger. It protects you from discomfort. And discomfort is the only way you grow. 3 conquests, 3 months, 3 internal enemies that had controlled him for 30 years. And now, they still existed, but they no longer ruled him. His ego was quiet. His desire was satisfied. His fear was manageable. For the first time in his life, he wasn't at war with himself. And that's when everything changed. 6 months later, James's external life looked almost identical. Same apartment, same work, same daily routine. But everything had changed. A competitor launched a product that directly challenged his old company. His former team called, panicked. Old James would have spiraled, strategized, launched a counterattack. New James failed. Nothing. No ego wound. No need to prove superiority. He genuinely wished them success and meant it. Someone wrote a critical article about him, got facts wrong, made him look bad. Old James would have spent days crafting a response, correcting the record, defending his reputation. New James read it, smiled, and moved on. His ego didn't need defending anymore. A friend bought a yacht, posted pictures, living a life that looked more impressive than James's. Old James would have felt inadequate, started planning something bigger, needed to one-up them. New James felt happy for his friend, genuinely, because his worth wasn't determined by comparison anymore. The transformation showed up in everything. Business decisions became clearer. No ego-clouding judgment. Relationships became easier. No need to prove anything. Satisfaction became natural. No endless wanting. A researcher studying internal versus external locus of control found that people who conquer themselves report 60% higher life satisfaction despite achieving less externally, because they're no longer slaves to circumstances. James's biggest test came 4 months in. An investor who'd passed on his original company now wanted to back his next venture. Big check, huge validation. Old James would have said yes immediately. Proof that he was still relevant, still valued. New James paused, asked himself, do I actually want this? Or does my ego want this? The answer was clear. His ego wanted it. He didn't. He turned it down. The investor was shocked. Do you know how many people would kill for this opportunity? James smiled. I already have everything I need. And he meant it. That's when he understood what the ancient masters knew. When you conquer yourself, external circumstances lose their power. Success or failure, praise or criticism, winning or losing, none of it controls you anymore. Because you already won the only battle that matters. So here's what you need to understand. You don't conquer the world. You conquer yourself first. Every empire falls. Every achievement fades. Every external victory is temporary. But the person who conquers themselves? Unshakable. Conquer your ego. Conquer your desire. Conquer your fear. That's the only victory that lasts forever. The practice starts now. This week, do one valuable thing that no one will ever know about. No credit, no recognition. Just the act itself. That's where self-conquest begins. That's where freedom lives. That's where you discover you were never fighting the world. You were always fighting yourself. And now, you've won.